Welcome back, guys. This is Average Chess. I'm Zorb, aka Zar, for those who don't know me. I've got an exciting announcement. I finally hit 1800 on chess.com ELO rating for rapid chess. So I'm super stoked. And I wanted to make a video just going through the 3 games that I played to get past 1800. So it was the 3 last games I played, which I won all of. A couple of them were comeback wins. It was against really good players. So I'm going to show you the games, go through my thought process, go through what I think they should have done. And hopefully this could give you a few ideas for if you're trying to climb up the rating ladder as well. So first game was against Chikifaki. I don't know how that's pronounced, from Algeria. He's rated 1809. So he is white, I'm black. He does begin with d4. I proceed with b6. So I like to play the b6 and e6 setup to white when they play things like this. When they play the d4, I usually go for the Fiend Keto on move 2, which is what I do. And he goes for an early d5. It's an interesting move. Usually you get people defending the pawn with the knight, or I do it with the bishop, and rarely with the queen. But he pushes, which is very aggressive. So I'm just going to get my knight out, just attack these pawns. I've got more development than him now. He does defend, which is a good move. It stabilizes the center while getting the knight out. So 2 things in one, developing and controlling the center. I do play e6 here. If he takes, which is what he will do, that's the next move. I'm not going to take with the queen, so I'm going to take with the F pawn. I think that having this open F file is something that I like to have, because I play a lot of positions in white where I have the F file opened. And he should probably just keep developing here, bring the bishop out, bring the knights out. But he pushes the pawn forward. He's playing very aggressive, just pushing his pawns up to my territory. We're just going to move the knight out of the way. And he moves the queen in for this check here. So we're just going to block that. He moves his queen back out of the way. So he's been using a lot of time not developing, and rather pushing pawns and getting his queen out. So we're just going to keep developing. This pawn is under attack, but I don't attack it straight away. I go for this rook to f8 business, just to get his queen out of that line, because I like to have an open file for my rook there. We take the bishop. We take the pawn there. He does do a bit of trading. We're just going to block this threat he has on my queen with my bishop. We are threatening this pawn up here. And we also have an eye on this pawn. It is being guarded by the knight at the moment, but if that moves, that would be a very, very dangerous move. So he does a castle this direction. I did have ideas to move bishop to a2, but you can get your bishop trapped in positions like this. Your bishop can't get out, and if the king moves over here, it can take it. We did have possibly queen up here, but after this, it's a bit scary, because now we've got 2 things. But I don't decide to do that. Move the queen out of the way. I can't remember why I did this. Maybe to get the file for the rook. He pushes a pawn again, damaging his king side a little bit. I'm just going to move it out of the way. Easy stuff. Get the knight out, develop. And we are looking to queenside castle here, because we can't castle kingside, obviously. We're just going to do a few threats in the middle. I'm looking to open up the line on the queen, so I push my pawn forward. He does take, and I was considering taking with the rook, but I didn't like this isolated pawn here, so I took with the pawn. Maybe it was better to take with the rook there, I'm not sure. His bishop still hasn't developed yet. He moves his knight into a threat in this square. We're just going to defend it again, and then also make threats maybe over here and threaten his queen. Okay, he moves his queen down here. We're going to give him a check. We do take his bishop, which is good. And then in this spot, I should have played b6, because his rook is pinned to his king, so it can't move. And if I play this move, his queen has to move off the diagonal. If it moves here, I just take it. If it moves here, I just take it. So it actually has to move off the diagonal to one of these 3 squares. If he doesn't want to lose it, and then I'd get the rook for free. So I didn't actually see that move, unfortunately. He does keep my queen away, so he did see that. Totally loses the guard of that pawn, which is interesting, but then at the same time, he gets this pawn. I probably should have taken. Actually, if I take there, so I was thinking about taking this rook, but if I take here, then he gets this really nice check here, and then so I'd lose both rooks in that situation. So I can't take. So I move my queen down to just defend that square. Just making some threats up here. He does take. We take. Moves his pawn, his rook here to threaten this pawn, which is now pinned to my king. We're just going to protect it a little bit. He moves here, and I probably should have, moved my queen out of the way, something like that. But then I missed this move here. It forces my king out of the way, and he can just easily eat these pawns now. I've sort of lost defense of all of these. This pawn is now hanging because there's 2 guards on it. We're just going to check him and hope to get some of these pawns, but his queen was threatening this pawn here, so just trying to stop him from cleaning up all my pawns. He does guard it now. I'm just moving my rook down to stop his rook going there. We're just going to try and put some threats up here, move out of the way. I give him a check here, and this is when he actually blunders. He should have just blocked the check with his queen, but he actually moves his king here, and it's made in 2, as you can see from the evaluation, because I have this move. And then whichever square he goes to, it's checkmate next turn. So he actually ran the clock out, and I won the game after that. He had 2 minutes on the clock. I had 40 seconds. He just ran it out. He didn't resign. Bloody bastard. So that was the first game of 3. You can see that I had an early lead with a couple of pawns. I threw that away a little bit by letting his queen infiltrate my pawns down here on the side of the board. But in the end, I think he was a bit too aggressive and trying to be too tricky, and I ended up getting the win. So the next game we have is against Young Stool from Canada, 1812, and this game was 15 moves long, very quick, very quick. So we're white, so you can probably guess. E4 is played. I love E4. He does go for the Caro-Kann opening, which is, very popular for black. My favorite reaction to the Caro-Kann is to push E5. He moves his bishop to F5. My favorite reaction to this is H4. And if he doesn't do anything about it, you can actually get your bishop trapped. If he moves here, moves here, can't take any of the pawns because they were all guarded. This one was guarded by the knights back here. And then his bishop is just trapped. He can take this pawn, he can take this pawn, but he's going to lose his bishop. So a lot of people that play Caro-Kann will see this, so they'll play something like that, so that they have this outpost for their bishop. I like to trade it off and just continue with the plan. Usually I don't take this pawn because it just lets the bishop develop. This bishop here, but I do take it, and then I play this move, and I thought that was really tricky at first. I thought, oh wow, I've never noticed this before. I can do this check on the bishop, and he should have played knight to d7, which both blocks the check and protects the bishop, so I can no longer take it. But instead, he plays knight to c6, which just gives me the bishop for free. So happy with that. We just keep developing. He castles queenside, castle kingside, just to get to safety. He pushes this pawn. I ignore it. I'm not too worried about this pawn here. I want to attack his king. Takes it. I throw it in his queen with the rook. With the knight. Doesn't even move it. Just moves the pawn forward to attack the bishop. So, an 1800 blunders a queen. So thank you very much. And that's when the game ends. He resigned. He actually played this move and then resigned, so it was pretty interesting. We go to the last game against Moon Mornerzig from Australia, fellow Australian, who, he's actually gone up in rating since I played him. He was about 1870, 1860 when I played him, and he's now 1974. But I won this game, so we're happy with that. If he's rated that rating and we beat him, so E4 is the move. Plays the Sicilian defense. Very interesting. So we're going to go for the fianchetto onto b2 with our dark squared bishop, which is what I love to play. This is the recommendation that I've been playing on the course that I've been watching. He goes for knight to c6. We just fianchetto. He does move here. If they do something like that, like e6 or e5, we can pin the knight and then take it with damaging structure. So if he does something like this, we can damage the structure like this. But he actually plays d6, so this isn't as deadly because he can then block the pin. And if I take the knight, he just takes with the bishop. So we're just continuing on with developing the knight, getting our king potentially castled, protect the pawn. We do castle. He's doing the same thing. He's got a bit more passive development. I'm just going to put the rook in there to get some central control. He does threaten the knight. Normally I would take it, But in this situation, I didn't think it was necessary, so I just moved it back. Just to keep my bishop on the board. We move the last pawn up to get some space for our queen to move out if needed, which is what I plan to do. He starts pushing pawns. We're just going to ignore it. He does push the pawn there, so the knight can really only go to this square. Knight obviously can't go there or there. If the knight goes here, he can then trap it. So we don't want to lose the knight. So the best move is to go back to b1. He keeps pushing pawns, which is good. He's sort of closing up the center and getting more space. We're going to try and crack it open a little bit as we do. And then I actually don't see this pin on the queen and the rook at first. We both don't see it for a few moves. And then he plays it. So I do lose my rook here. So we are down. He does move his knight here, and I managed to pin his knight to his queen. And instead of moving the queen out of the way, he pushes the pawn forward. This lets me push the pawn forward as well, which I thought at the time was a bloody unstoppable move. I was going to get his knight, but I realized he had knight to d4, and my queen is hanging, so I can't take the knight or I lose my queen. And if I take his queen, he just takes it back with the knight. But he actually didn't do that. So we win that. And I'm going to just move my rook over to keep this help with the pawn here, move it up. He does move his knight into the way, so we're going to move the queen out of the way. This knight's in a very annoying spot. We kind of want that square, so I do take it. Then he puts his queen there, but I do put my queen back on this diagonal in case there's any pushes, and I have check, and I also threaten this rook. He does protect the rook and doubles up his rooks on this file, so that's very strong. It is looking a bit scary at this stage. I want to look for a pawn break here to try and get this file open for my rook. I do have 2 bishops though, so that is okay. I have a lot of long-range scope. Move my rook out of the way. I don't want to trade rooks, even though we're not technically down material. I just, it's better to have a rook on the board, I think, in this position. We're just going to do his shuffling. I want to try and get this pawn. And I do that with the bishop. He moves his rook to attack my queen. I have to actually take with the queen at this stage because otherwise I'll lose it. We do a bit of a trade. He does take my pawn here. That's what the queen was guarding, so it wasn't an annoying spot. I move my bishop here to block this line for his rook. He then pins my bishop to my rook. Now this sucked because I can't actually move the bishop, because if I move it anywhere, he gets my rook with check. So the only move that I saw here was push the pawn to c5. It's forcing the rook off that file. Because I saw that if he plays b5 with the rook, which is what he actually does, then I have bishop e2. And he resigned here. No matter what he does, I'm going to be up a bishop. If he takes here, if he moves out of the way for whatever reason, that's even worse for him. So really the best thing he can do is take, and then we're up a bishop. So we do resign, and I hit 1800, guys. So, even at my level, people blunder, people make mistakes, people walk into pins. So don't ever give up. Don't ever think it's over, because you can bring it back, especially in the lower levels. There's going to be a lot of people making blunders from absolutely winning position. So thanks for watching, guys. This is Average Chess, and I'm Czar. Adios.